Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Running Tales podcast. It's really great that you can join me, Craig Lewis, on another epic journey into the world of running. Now, this week, we're bringing you the story of the brilliant Adam Rodriguez, who's currently edging towards the end of an unbelievable challenge that will see him run 55 marathons in 55 cities across a single year. But just before I tell you a bit more about Adam's story, I just want to go through a little bit of housekeeping. And yes, that means it's time to tell you to please like and subscribe to the Running Tales podcast wherever you listen to it. And folks, be sure to share it too. Tell your running mates, post your episodes on social media. It really does help us to get these sort of stories out to more and more people. And you can also check out written versions and many more stories on our Substack page, runningtales.substack.com. And listen, if you want to do me a real solid, go and purchase your latest running gear through one of our brilliant affiliates, Path Projects, Sloth and Duck, and Kibra. And if you buy anything via those links, a small percentage goes back to Running Tales to help us to continue to produce this podcast. Anyway, folks, enough of all that. I know you want to hear Adam's story, and I'm really keen to hear it as well. It all began a few years ago when his mother was diagnosed with B-cell lymphoma. And while she's thankfully survived and is thriving, I'm sure, her journey has left an indelible mark on Adam. And last July, he decided to give something back to those who work to repel cancer. And he came up with a challenge to run those 55 marathons in every English city across the following year, starting his journey in Taunton. Now, the final run is going to take place in June when he completes yet another 26.2 miles. That one will be in Salisbury. And it comes a day after he'll complete a marathon in Sheffield. I'm just tired thinking about it. Now, all of his runs have been recorded on Strava, except the London Marathon, of course. I'm sure that was on Strava as well, but that was the official one, of course. So we'll talk to him about that. Perhaps the most important thing, funds raised will go to Move Against Cancer, an ever-growing community of people who believe passionately in the power of movement. And they are also the people, of course, behind the popular 5K Your Way initiative, which takes place in parkruns up and down the country every week. Folks, it's a huge challenge for a fantastic cause. And from someone whose legs are still aching almost a week on from just one single marathon, for me, it's barely conceivable. So, without further ado, let's welcome Adam onto the Running Tales podcast and find out exactly how he is managing to do it. Hey, Adam, how you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate you having me on.
No worries. Thank you so much for joining us and taking some time out. It must be a, a constant turnover of training and events. Although, actually, I suppose maybe that's a nice place to start because it just popped into my head there. Do you actually train between all these marathons, or is your marathons just what you do?
It's a good question because I get asked this all the time, and I feel quite guilty because I don't do any training in between at all. So because I do have like a Monday to Friday job, which is quite busy as it is. So for me, I am just simply doing the marathons on the Saturday, try and recover as much as I can on the Sunday, and then
Yeah.
by the next week, as weird as it sounds, the body's kind of adapted to the routine, which is ready to go again by next weekend.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because I imagine the last thing you want to be doing is putting in a fartlet session or
Yeah.
some other slow long run on a Wednesday. That would be horrendous.
Yeah, no, I did think about it at the first because I know a lot of people do go when they do a lot of running. There's lots of kind of smaller ones, even the day after, etc. But I found what works best for me is just save it all for that one day, and all the other 6 days are basically just a recovery for me.
Yeah, I want to get to you why we touched on it in the intro there in a minute, but um, first of all, I suppose I would just want to explore how much of a runner, if at all, you were before you decided to set out on this challenge.
Yeah, so I was a very amateur runner. So I had done 3 marathons prior, but none of them were official ones. Again, they were just ones that I've recorded myself. I've done a few official half marathons, but all in all, we're looking at around about 10 as a maximum. So I have done a fair share, and that's been over the course of like kind of 29 to 28 years. So
Yeah,
I did a little bit of running here and there, but nothing too serious. So it is quite a big step up. On the build up to this challenge, about 3 months before, I started doing a half marathon every weekend just on the build up, just to get ready for it. And I could feel that my body was able to adapt to that. So I was fairly confident that although it's going to be really tough, it's going to be doable to get through a full marathon pretty much at least one every single weekend.
yeah. So how do you kind of take on each of these marathons? Is it? I'm assuming you're not going to go out and do 26.2 miles as fast as you can every weekend. There's going to be an element of at least every now and again going out and just getting it done in over a longer time period or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. It's quite humbling because, and it's one of the hardest battles, to be honest, is not go too quick because you're especially any runner loves to try and track their times and try and
Yeah.
get to each time. So I've kind of had to humble myself, and the key goal for me is stay injury free. So
Mm.
I've kind of put that as number one priority before even looking at the times. As long as I can get through the marathon in a state where the next following weekend I'm still going to be able to go again, that's been my aim. So it's been humbling for me because some of my times have been around kind of 5 to even 6 hours plus at times. So it's kind of been a very, very steady pace. I've never been the fastest runner. I've had a sub four as a PB, but just sub four. That was it, like just under. So I've
Yeah.
never done anything. I mean, I see on social media all the time some incredible times, but I've never been a high level runner in that regard. So for me, it's just been about enjoying the city is really the priority, like taking in
Mm.
all the surroundings. Most of the time when I go there, it's the first time I've ever been to these cities. And when I do these marathons, I make a point to go through all the key landmarks that I can. So I often will start at the cathedral or right in the centre and really kind of work around it. And in doing that, you're kind of more interested in what's going on, what's around you, as opposed to tracking the time. And it's really helped me.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a guy a few years ago he did 401 marathons, I think, in 401 days, or something mad like that. I'm sure his name was Ben something, but anyway, I'm sure people listening will be screaming the correct answer. But he said he wasn't on Running Tales. He was a bit of a star across the BBC and stuff. But I remember him telling interviewers that he started out running almost as fast as he could, and that quickly became too hard. And by the end of it, he was doing like 8, 9 hour marathons, stopping for lunch halfway around and having a couple of pints after 20 miles and just continuing it. And it just became an absolute experience rather than kind of that slog we sometimes experience when we're racing.
100%, yeah, and it's quite refreshing to actually try and just enjoy the run. It's been quite good for my own development to just look at a running for the sake of taking the scenery as opposed to like I said, just going for that time each time. It's kind of
Yeah.
helped me learn to appreciate running a little bit more. Having said that, once this challenge is all done, I think I'm going to kind of switch to try and getting some faster times and going back on that track instead. But for now, I'm really enjoying just kind of the story of each city and taking it all in that way.
Yeah. So let's talk about the why, Adam. Obviously, I mentioned it in the intro there, but it's entirely central to all of this. So,
Yeah,
as I understand it, it was a few years ago that your mum unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer.
yeah.
Are you able to maybe just tell people a little bit about that, and I suppose how that experience played out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, it was my mum that suffered with cancer, and luckily she fully recovered from it. But she had a large B cell lymphoma. It spread across three different places. So, at the time, it was looking really quite severe.
Mm.
And this was quite a few years back now, but I just remember at the time, just almost everything in life comes to a bit of a stop at that time. And there's just lots of worries, and then every day is the priority just becomes the health, and all you're really worried about is what's the next update or how are you feeling today. And you kind of learn that everything you're normally worried about your day to day, whether it be work or whether it be kind of exams, etc., you actually just push to one side completely. So for me, it really just kind of opened up the importance of how lucky you should be when you have everyone in full health and fitness around you. So yeah, it's quite a struggle at the time, but like I said, luckily the support was brilliant, and it really made me realise the importance as well of keeping yourself as active and healthy as possible. And it kind of what led me to picking the charity Move Against Cancer, because it really aligns with what their mission is to try and do your best to get yourself in as kind of as good shape as you can, but also in a way that you're in a bit of a community. So one of the aspects that they done that I've really enjoyed being part of is they do these 5K Your Way events.
Yeah.
Have you ever done one yourself at all or been near?
Yeah, so my wife actually used to be a 5K Your Way ambassador for a little while at the Northampton Park Run. So she looked after that for um not a huge amount of time. I think it was about a year, but we still have 5K Your Way at Northampton. It's a superb initiative.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. So it's on the last Saturday of each month that they run it. I know you'll know just for the listeners, and it's yeah, obviously a normal park run that typically they start at 9, but for this there's usually a community of 5K Your Way events that happen, and it's people that have been affected by cancer. So it's not that you have to necessarily have had cancer, but just been affected by it in any way.
Mm.
So today I've been lucky enough not to have cancer at all. So I still join in the events just because I've been affected by it, and you can still get to meet and connect with people through that way. So that's been a great part of it. So it's I think like over 120 or so across the UK now. So on their website, on Move Against Cancer's website, you can just type in your postcode, find the nearest one to you, and that's a great way of just kind of getting out there, because I think when you're going through something like that, you do feel a little bit isolated, and it's quite easy. And a lot of the people I spoke to said at first they found themselves closing away and kind of shutting themselves in.
Mm.
Whereas having an event like this, even if it is just that once a month, gives you a bit more reason to kind of get up and go, and you're surrounded by people that really do understand what you've been through.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great part of it. So that's why I really want to do it for a charity like Move. So yeah, it was a tough time, but I do think the benefit and the good side of it all is you end up meeting such great people that have been affected by it, and it really does help you develop a whole new level of empathy for what people are going through.
Yeah, I mean, 5K Your Way is absolutely brilliant, and the people I've spoken to will often say there's kind of this dual purpose to it for some of them, and for some people it's that you can go along and you can speak to fellow cancer sufferers or people who understand what you're going through, and you can talk about the things that maybe you can't talk about with your family and friends because it's too sensitive or they don't understand, but other
Yeah,
people at these events will understand. But it sounds a bit contradictory, but equally you can go and talk about something which isn't blooming cancer for an
yeah,
hour or so, because that's
yeah,
kind of becomes totally your life. But you escape to the park run, you do your 5K, or it doesn't have to be 5K, of course. You can kind of do whatever you like,
yeah.
and you just get a chance to talk about something other than cancer for a little while, don't you?
100%, yeah. And I've noticed that everyone I've gone to, they all seem to get together at the end, and they're all having their kind of a
Yeah.
cake or coffee, etc. And that's been the most painful bit for me, because I'm off obviously then running the rest of the marathon. So it's always a bit more painful waving as they've got the nice cake and coffee next to them. But yeah, it's been a great part of the experience. I'm really happy I've chosen them.
Hmm. So what made you, when you obviously chose a great charity, you had a great why,
Yeah.
but you could have just run the London Marathon, say you could have just run one marathon somewhere or a couple. What made you go, I'm going to do something as extreme as this and take on 55 different cities across a year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still questioning it to this day, if I'm honest. I don't know how I've come to
Yeah.
this, but it's been a part of me really wanted to have. There was an itch I wanted to kind of travel a bit more, but I've also in that position, which I know a lot of people get to, where you kind of get to a nice place in your in like your corporate world in your job, and I thought I don't know if I can really leave that and risk it, but I kind of hit a middle ground. Where I thought, let me try and explore as much as the UK or England as I can first. And this was a nice way of doing it, because I thought whenever you run or whenever I run, I always find it's a great way to really take in the surroundings of that area.
Mhm.
So that was where I kind of thought, let's go for England. Let's try and really get in and explore all the cities there are and understand all the key landmarks. And in doing that, I found some absolutely beautiful places I never would have ever dreamt of thought about going ever in the past. So it's been really great on that side. I remember as well at the time. So as the first one was back in July last year, but it was probably a couple of months before. I was probably just on my phone scrolling, as you can find yourself doing, and I came across another podcast clip where they mentioned, I think it was called like a misogi, which is something where once a year you should try and do something that will completely change your life and really
Oh
go.
yeah, I have heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that was the thing that moment I remember listening to that. I thought that's a really good point. And went back into my room at the time and I wrote down what's everything that I think I'm relatively okay at doing. And running was one of the things that came up for me. I've never been a great runner. Not in terms of time, but I've always had quite a durable body. I've never really had any injuries up to this point. So I thought I could always do something around the running side. And then the other part of me was looking at the traveling, and I thought, although I can't travel far, I could still travel around the UK. So I had those two parts and I kind of put them all together and thought, let's go for it. And I was trying to work out what can I do that's around the number 52, where it's one a week.
Yeah,
I did see someone started doing one in every county, which is, I think there's like around 50 or so counties. But I thought, oh, cities is 55, just about make it work. It's going to be 3 times I double up. I
yeah.
thought, I don't mind buckling up for those 3 times and getting through it. So yeah, that's how I kind of came to it. So it's been a hell of a ride so far. So as you mentioned, I've got about I'm 44 down and there's 11 remaining. So I'm hoping to get them all done within the next 2 months. So by the end of June this year, it'll all be finished.
I was just absolutely fantastic, Adam. But I suppose the question that people are going to be asking is, how's the whole thing been on your body? You said it's fairly durable, but there's durable and then there's durable after taking on 44 marathons.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be honest, it depends what day of the week you seem to ask me. If you would have asked me this on the Sunday or Monday after the marathon, I think my body's in pieces. It's a mess. But when
Yeah.
you've asked me today, it's getting towards the end of the week. Everything's slowly recovered and adapted in time. So it's just remarkable how quick the body can adapt. It's really blown my mind. The first 10 marathons were really, really difficult. They were that's when I had serious doubts. I thought, am I even going to be able to actually get through this? But then from like 10 to 20 to 30, it became such a routine and the body was just recovering a little bit quicker each time. I've always been quite good on the recovery side. I've done quite a lot of the ice baths afterwards.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge out of all of it that I've had has really been not necessarily even the marathon itself. It's actually the like the logistics of getting to the cities and back. So
Mm.
for me, on a lot of them, I've actually just drove up there myself, done the marathon, and then drove back on that same day. So it almost wipes out the full Saturday. So it's kind of I might be leaving at like 6:15 in the morning or so, and I might get back at like midnight on some of the places. So it's really that whole Saturday is just a write off for me. But that way, it's just one day of the week. It hasn't then necessarily taken over my whole life. It's just one day of the week it's taken up, and the rest of it I can kind of still function as normal.
Well, I was going to ask you that actually because I just wonder what sort of impact it's had on the rest of your life and your social life because you're working Monday to Friday. You've got a marathon on Saturday. I'm imagining you're pretty whacked out on the Sunday, and then like I don't know, like I did the Shakespeare marathon as I mentioned to you when we were chatting before we started recording on last Saturday. That tomorrow night I'm probably going to go out and have a couple of beers. Nothing mad,
Yeah.
but with a couple of mates, and it's like it's probably not too high up on your bingo card at the moment.
Yeah, so that's definitely been one of the biggest challenges. But the way I've always looked at it, it's just 1 year of my life.
Yeah.
And time just seems to fly by so quick, especially when you are working on some sort of project. So it's honestly flown by this point. So although I have sacrificed a lot, it's before you know it, it gets done and gets over quite quickly. One of the benefits, although I have lost a lot of the social events that I would have gone to, on the flip side, you do gain quite a lot of social activity as well. You end up meeting so many other people and runners.
Yeah.
So I've met so many contacts throughout doing this challenge that I'll probably end up speaking to for many years to come, hopefully the rest of my life. So there's kind of pros and cons to it. And all my friends, and they've been very understanding. So a lot of my close friends have said, "Oh, we won't get married this year. We'll hold off for you, etc." So, they've all been quite accommodating, which is it means the world to me. But yeah, really kind of looking forward to when it gets to the end, having those weekends back. It was actually this last weekend, as you mentioned, was the official London Marathon, which I was lucky to be involved with. But that was actually on a Sunday, and that was the first Saturday in I think it was 42 weeks where I wasn't running a marathon. So it
Yeah.
felt really weird on Saturday walking around thinking, God, I'm just so used to on this day being running. So I kind of got an extra day's rest as such. But yeah, so it's been a challenge, but the social side of it has taken a hit. But the way I've looked at it, just 1 little year, and then we'll be back to normal.
Definitely, and as you say, I mean, what a huge adventure, and to visit all those different places and different cities and different sets of architectures and cathedrals and whatever you run past on your way, because as you mentioned, that's really been something that you've enjoyed, isn't it? Discovering all these different places.
Oh, it's been brilliant. So I've been lucky enough where I can just record the videos as well, where it's not always been an official marathon. I've actually got a bit of time to, if I run past like a certain castle or cathedral that I quite like the look of, I can even just pop inside, have a quick look around. And I try and record it because a lot of the videos obviously will go on social media to try and help out, try and fundraise as much as I can for Move Against Cancer. So although I am obviously doing the marathons along the way, I'm also able to take it slow and also just actually go in and check out these landmarks. Especially if
Mm.
I'm driving like 5 hours to go somewhere, I might be thinking, I don't know when I'm next going to be here, so I might as well take it in and really
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, I remember someone we had on the podcast a little while ago. They did a 5 day event in Nepal and decided to power walk it, and still did it in a good time. But she was popping into places of worship and schools and all sorts of stuff, and even went to a wedding on one of her walks. So there's so
Yeah.
many different ways of experiencing racing. But I guess part of what you got to do at London was toe the line and finished a race on the same day that something quite exceptional happened with the new world record.
Oh, I know. It was absolutely phenomenal. And as I was running, it hit the crowd. The crowd were aware of it. People were
Yeah,
shouting, "Oh, have you heard the record's just been broken?" And then, oh, two people sub 2 hours it. So even during the actual marathon, like it was spreading all throughout the whole, like the whole start line from all the way from like the finish to the start. So yeah, it's like a Mexican wave of the information being passed back. It was quite nice, really. But the whole day really felt magical. That was the first time I've ever done actually an official marathon ever, believe it or not. But yeah, so to start off with London, it was just a dream come true for me. I'm going to cherish that moment forever. It was just a brilliant day.
yeah. I mean, I haven't done it. My wife Michelle, she did it, and I've been along to support her and some other events there, and just the crowds and everything are unbelievable. You're talking like three, four, five people deep, aren't you, at various places around?
It is, yeah, and it's just the noise of it as well. It's like a football stadium the whole way around, just completely cheering the whole way. So I think yeah, it's just great. I think I did that one. That was the quickest one so far. It's about 4 hours 42 ish or so.
Yeah,
With the chip time, so still not massively quick in terms of what I know these other runners can do, but for like the 44th marathon in a row. I was quite happy with that to get going. I know that halfway through, I was a bit, I think I got carried away by the crowd a bit because it was a sub 2 hours at the half marathon mark when I was crossing the bridge. And I
yeah,
thought it was probably a bit too quick. So I just eased off a bit just to save myself because obviously got another one this weekend in Wolverhampton will be the next one.
yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. So what's you've got about 11 to go. What's still on the on the bingo card?
Yeah, so we've got Wolverhampton is the next one coming. I've also got some far ones for me. I'm in the southwest at the moment, Taunton, as you mentioned. So I've got
Mm,
Sunderland still to go. I've got York to go, Manchester to go. So I've got Nottingham as well. So still quite a fair range, a few far ones to go. But I don't mind at this point because I'm so close to the end. I'm quite happy, and I'm actually almost as daft as it sounds, gonna miss it quite a bit. So I'm actually kind of trying to embrace it as much as I can and really take in these last few because I just can't believe how quick it's gone. It really feels like I've only just started it, and before you know it, I've just got the 11 left.
mm.
But it's going to be a little bit tougher where there's two doubles happening. So the end of May, I've got a double one. I am going to do Westminster again, even though I kind of went through it on the London Marathon. Technically London is his own city, Westminster is his own city, so it's quite difficult thinking how am I going to do this? But I'm just going to do the London Marathon as London, and then
Yeah,
Westminster do it properly and being able to actually go over to the landmarks a bit more properly.
yeah.
So yeah, got quite a few left, quite a range of different places to go. The way I've done it logistically, it's not really been planned that well, and the fact that sometimes I've got like three far ones in a row. So in hindsight, if I was to do it again, I would have been a bit more strategic with making sure there's one far one, then one local one, and kind of keep it a bit more manageable that way. But I've just done it all over the place, really. The only thing I like to do is the last Saturday of each month, keep it local, and then I can join in with the park run and the 5K your way. So the
Mm,
last one of each month is always local, but the others are usually just can be anywhere.
yeah. And how have you worked out the routes that you do in each of these places?
So what I will try to do, if I know someone that lives in the area, I always start off just by asking them. And there's usually a
Mm,
few hidden gems that they'll tell you that you don't always find online. Other than that, I would just simply go online and Google it on just like the best landmarks to visit and just make a note of it. Usually, I'm quite reliant on Google Maps, and I just try and look at the routes between each. What I will tend to do is leave quite a bit of leeway. So it might be that in between all the landmarks in total, it comes to like 10 or 12 miles. And then what I'll do is if I need to just loop it again, because
yeah,
sometimes you get to a place and you think, oh, I don't really fancy this route anymore. There was a few of the marathons earlier on a few months ago where there's quite a lot of flooding. So if I
right.
was to stick to the route, I just wouldn't have been able to get to where I needed to. So I like to have a lot of flexibility to then just, when I'm there, adapt to a completely new area and find a new way to get there.
Yeah. Actually, that's just made me think you must have gone through some. It's lovely now, but you must have gone through some pretty horrendous weather in the early stages. Well,
Oh yeah,
in the mid stages of this, I suppose, in the early stages of this year.
yeah. So I think I've had all the elements so far. I've had snow, I've had hailstones, and I've just sometimes been really sunny. I do remember the second one I did was Carlisle, and that's quite a far one for me. It's about 5 hour drive to get there, but it was a day. It was at that point in time the hottest day of the year.
Right.
But luckily for me, I thought I'm going to just do it a bit later in the day. So I just checked the weather, and I thought by the time I drive it, it's going to take 5 hours anyway. So I just started the marathon probably about 6 p.m. ish instead, and that way it's a bit cooler by then. So I've tried to be a little bit sensible where I can, but ultimately, when you're doing a challenge like this, sometimes you just have to kind of buckle up and get on with it, no matter what the weather's saying. Otherwise, you're just never going to get them done.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And obviously, apart from the last week of the month ones where you're hooking up with the park runs and 5K your way, are you largely running these marathons on your own?
For the most part, I am. Yeah, there's been a few occasions where people have very kindly offered to run the first bit with me, especially at the first 5 or 10K. When I'd done the first double marathon on the Saturday and Sunday, I did have one of my close friends come and join me for both of them, which was really useful. From a bit of a selfish point of view, I've quite enjoyed trying to keep it solo just because it means there's a little bit less to worry about in terms of logistics. So
Yeah.
there's been a few times where I have run with people before and they might pick up an injury, etc., and it almost kind of derails the day a little bit. And I know that's a very selfish way to look at it, but if it's just me to worry about, it's just one person you need to get right on that day. When you start to
Mm.
add people to it, it almost adds a few complications because you don't really want to leave someone injured at all. You want to make sure everyone stays together, but just from like a risk management point of view, I've tried to keep it solo. After the 10K mark, I usually will just run the rest on my own.
Mm. Yeah. So I mean, we've obviously spoken about the why, and it's a really strong one, but I'm guessing you really have to draw on that at times when you're getting on your own in another city that you don't know. Yeah, it's good to see, but it's tough as well. A long way from home, and you're just 20 miles in. You got that final horrible 10K to go each time, and you're like, I've still got another 30 of these left or whatever.
Yeah, it absolutely. And what I have learned is that feeling, you always build some sort of mental muscle to overcome that. And the first few is at the absolute loudest it's going to be. But the more you overcome it, it's almost like that muscle gets bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
And then by the end of it, you just find yourself so much more confident in yourself to overcome it when it gets really tough. So that noise was really loud, especially the first 10. But after a while, you actually end up just building so much self confidence that when it's going to get really tough and when you really need to dig in, you've got such a good track record of other times that you've done it. It actually helps you quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I found it actually almost quite motivating in the way that the tougher it is, there's part of me that's almost quite glad because I think this is going to feel so good once I'm over it. And it's just another thing to add to the almost like the running CV that I've overcome this other mental challenge that I had. So I've almost just embraced that dark side of it and turned it into a bit of a positive.
Hmm. Was there a point, say after 10, that you thought, do you know what, I'm actually am going to do this?
Well, even to now, to this point, there's still some doubts. So there's always a little pain
Sure.
that will come out of nowhere. So it sometimes it'll be my left knee, and then you think that's fixed, and the right knee suddenly starts to feel a bit of a pain, and then it's my feet at the moment, which is probably my biggest battle. So there's it's never been complete confidence, but I don't think it's a good enough challenge. If you're completely confident, I don't think the challenge is the right one really. If it's going to be as
Hmm.
drastic as I want it to be, I want there to be an element of doubt, just because that gives you a bit more excitement to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've spoken to, I mean, the niggles never go away, and sometimes they're
Mm.
worse than others, but I have spoken to runners who've done similar challenges, and sometimes they say after the first three, four, five, they feel like their body's falling apart. And then as you go on a few more, the body sort of says, you're going to make me keep doing this. So I'm
Yeah.
going to, yeah, okay, I've got this now. I've worked this out. I'm going to sort of correct myself and make sure that I can do it. Have you kind of found that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think I've always become immune to any pains in a way. So I went to see a physiotherapist today, which is actually the first time I've done it during the whole challenge has started. And he mentioned that these are the tightest casts I think I've ever felt. And for me, I hadn't even realized. And it's almost like you just get so used to the pain, it just
Yeah.
becomes part of you. And it wasn't until afterwards. No, I mean, now he's completely sorted them out and they feel way looser. But I never even realized how tight or how achy things were because it just became part of the everyday.
Mm,
So I'll probably find that I'll actually be once the challenge is completely done, I'll then suddenly realize, wow, this is what it actually feels like to have a normal functioning body again with no aches and pains. But at the moment, I've just kind of just got you so used to it, it all becomes part of it.
yeah. And how does nutrition work when you're doing this? Is it really important on the day? Are you taking loads of gels on the actual sort of run day, and do you prepare by eating pasta every Friday night? I don't know.
I wish I had a really good answer and said, yeah, I'm doing everything by the book. I'm on my gels and I'm doing this, but I'm so relaxed with it. Is the only thing for me is that I've just eat whatever I want throughout the week in terms of like the volume of food. So I've been
Mm.
quite gluttonous, really, just saying, oh, I'm running a marathon on the weekend, so I get away with it. So yeah, even things like if it was to go for beers, etc., I'm still going to be doing it on a midweek if I can, etc. I'm not being really strict on diet because I've just kind of built up enough experience with how to get through the marathon now that I'm not too bothered about timings and such. As long as I'm injury free, I will try and have carby meals on the Thursday and Friday. And I don't do gels at the moment, but I do have those square bars. Is
Oh
usually what
yeah,
I go
yeah,
for.
yeah.
I just find I digest them a lot better. So I do that, and I will stock my car up with water and sports drinks, etc., for the marathon. So I am heavily stocked up for the day itself, and my car is it's almost like my aid station that I can keep going to.
Mm.
Obviously, we'll run with a running vest as well, which it does have energy gels available if I do want them, but for the most part, I really do just rely on just a few square bars and a few sports drinks throughout it, and that's enough to get me through.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to keep on running forever now because otherwise, as soon as you stop, you keep eating the same. You'll just be huge, you balloon.
Oh, absolutely. And I've honestly realised as well that since doing the challenge, I've actually probably in worse shape, which sounds crazy because you're doing a marathon every week. But because of that, I've not been training midweek as much as I would have done prior. So in
Mm.
a weird way, I've actually got myself in worse shape from doing a marathon a week. Sounds mental, but yeah, so it's all part of it. And I think once it's all done, I can concentrate a bit more on a bit more of a healthy balance of kind of running and nutrition and get myself in a bit more better shape.
Because you hinted at it earlier, but running is something you want to keep doing and keep pushing towards these events. Perhaps go a bit faster. Perhaps do some more official runs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think once you get into running, you can never really get away from it. I think it really does grip you. So I think I'm kind of flirting with the idea of getting involved with an Ironman at the end of it all. So just kind of taking to it to another type of involving a few other elements. So
Mm.
that's potentially where I'll look to do. But I'll definitely always be running. I think I'll probably be just reduce the amount, probably to 10Ks or so for now, rather than doing anything too drastic. And maybe the official marathon every now and again, every 6 months or so. So I'll definitely keep up running, but I'll just take down the numbers a bit more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I think you do well to push them up any higher anyway. So,
Oh, apologies, Craig. I'm back now. If you can hear me, I just cut
yeah.
out
So
there.
I think I lost you for just a second there, Adam. But I was just saying, I think you do really well to be able to push those numbers up any higher. So
Oh, exactly.
they're
Yeah.
probably only going to go one way for a little while at least.
100%, yeah. So I think I'll probably reduce the volume of marathons, but just try and get the times better. Will probably be the next thing. But yeah, I think I'll likely be doing an Ironman the next couple of years if I can.
Mm, superb. And just to go back, I suppose, to the whole cause behind this, I know it sounds like it's the real obvious and glib question, but how important is it to raise money for organisations like Move Against Cancer, and and what difference can they make?
Yeah, so to raise money towards Move Against Cancer, it really does mean quite a massive amount to them. So what they really try and do on their side is they specialise in ages from 13 years old to 30. So their specialty is young people that have been affected by cancer. So the difference that the money can make to them is astronomical. So it really does help fund a lot of one-to-one support that they can get. So they get customized, bespoke training for these young people. So that's really a massive area they specialize in. They also have an online hub of information that they try to keep up to date on the benefits of movement against cancer, as well as supporting all the community events like the 5K Your Way events that they do across the UK. So they're a charity that they really are trying their best to make a huge difference. I was quite lucky at the start of the challenge. There's a few charities I had on like a short list of trying to work out which one would be most aligned to what I wanted. And when I met the team there, they were just all so passionate and driven to try and really make a difference on this.
Mm,
And they're very much like a family vibe between them all, where they all really got on so strongly. And I thought, this is definitely the right people. They've all got a strong message and a strong belief and to try and make the world a better place through movement. And it just really does show it on the numbers as well. So people that are being more active, their odds of defeating cancer really are drastically higher. So it's just messaging that I really feel strongly about myself. So if anything I can do that supports them and helps them do the best thing they can to try and defeat this disease, then I think they deserve every penny they get.
Yeah, definitely. And so if people have been perhaps inspired by this to think I really want to donate to this cause, where can they find your fundraising pages and put some pennies towards Move Against Cancer, I suppose.
Yeah, that's just very kind of you to say. I mean, everything is on a fundraising website called GiveStar. So if you were to type in either Adam Rodriguez, my name, or just a marathon in every city, it will come up with it. All the runs that I do, they're documented on social media under the username Rodders Roots. So all the links to donate are also on there. That's easier, and you'll be able to see each of the cities I've visited. There's a quick 2 minute video just showing you the key landmarks of where I've gone throughout the marathon. So yeah, that's where it is, and that's where you can find the donation links as well.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure we stick those in our show notes as well, so people can find them there and click on there and hopefully send some money over and keep the cause going. So just finally, my final question, I suppose. You've had 44 to choose from so far. I'm going to take London out of it because I think
Yeah.
that's unfair. What have been your favourite places to run a marathon in to date?
Yeah, it's a good question. I get asked this one quite a bit, and I'm always trying to think of that because there's so many different elements of it. That the ones that I've really enjoyed, Cambridge and Oxford, both of them were really great cities.
Yeah,
Cambridge was definitely one of the strongest. I actually ended up going back there a few weeks after on a bit of a day visit as well. So I thought I want to redo this, and you could see them doing like the punting along the river there as well. So I thought I'm going to go back and do that. So that has to be up there for me just in terms of the sites. One that also sticks out is Ripon is a great city because it's a really small one, and if I'm really honest, I never heard of it before I started putting the list of all the cities, and I had to double check my notes. For if I is this an actual city or have I done a typo here because I just never heard of it. And
yeah,
when I went there, it's just one of the nicest cities. It did absolutely chuck it down with rain, but it almost added to it because there was like a lot of prehistoric ruins that I visited while I was there, and seeing all that against all the rain chucking down, it's just quite a nice moment thinking, wow, I really am kind of exploring this country. So
yeah.
yeah, for me, it's been Cambridge, Oxford, and Ripon were probably the top three so far.
Oh, fab. And dare I ask what the worst was?
Oh, so yeah, it depends how I answer it really. But so for me, I've had a few where it's just felt like my legs are just so heavy. So I think probably one of the worst ones would have been one of the first 10 I would have done. So yeah, I probably won't name one just in case I don't want to offend anyone. But if you
Oh,
looked at any of the first 10 I've done, they were definitely the ones I was struggling the most.
that's a very diplomatic answer, Adam, because you blamed yourself and your performance rather than the city, and we all want to know which was the actual worst city to run round. But I won't press it.
Yeah, no. Well, if I had to say the one that I had the least pleasant experience with off camera, it probably would be Birmingham.
Right.
But that was quite a challenge for me, but I'll leave it at that. For I won't go into any more detail.
And no, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Well, congratulations on what you've done so far. Good luck with the remaining 11. Was it 11 to go?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll raise loads and loads of money for Move Against Cancer. It's a fantastic organisation. So yeah, just well done, Adam, on such a incredible challenge to take on, and even doing 44 already is just mind blowing. So fantastic, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Craig. I've had a lot of fun speaking with you today.
Excellent. Thanks again to Adam for joining us today on the Running Tales podcast. Have a look in our show notes, check out everything he's doing, and make sure to chuck some money his way in the way of Move Against Cancer. It's fantastic, fantastic charity. And if you don't know about 5K Your Way, have a look at that as well because they do some brilliant, brilliant stuff, and they really do make a difference to the lives of people who are affected by cancer and keep them moving. So yeah, like I say, a fantastic organisation. Please like and subscribe to Running Tales. I'm going to keep saying it till you make sure you all do it. Go and check out our back catalogue. Tell everybody all about it. And most of all, join us next week for another episode of the Running Tales podcast.